What's going on, Raider Nation? I am Raider Glenn Diesel, and thank you for tuning in to another great episode of Commitment to Bring You Excellent Podcast. I did a offensive draft prospect podcast, um, giving you guys some prospects that fits the Raider scheme to keep eye on at the scouting combine. So this is going to be part two. Do the defensive side of the ball. Defensive side, the draft prospects on the defensive side is very deep. Very deep, very talented, and definitely can find some solid prospects on the defensive side of the ball, which is great for us or for the Raiders because that's pretty much the side of the ball that needs a lot of addressing. There's a lot of holes on that side of the ball, and there's a lot of voided talent. So this would be a great way for the Raiders to try to get ahead of the chains on his rebuild. I know they're going to hit a lot of, or they should hit a lot of players in the free agency, which is in a couple of weeks. But whatever they don't land in free agency, which is a crapshoot because you got 31 other teams vying for player services. So it's a bidding war, as we all know. So whatever they can't get in free agency, they'll definitely turn their attention to the draft, which they have 10 picks. We all assume that the first pick is going to be Fernando Mendoza. So that's going to leave us with 9 extra picks to fill the voids of the holes that we need to fill, and we can possibly have some compensatory picks with some free agents that left the building last year. So we may end up with a couple more picks. So I'm gonna start with the edge group, then the defensive tackles, the linebackers, the cornerbacks, and then the safeties. So, all right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into what you guys tuned in for, and that is to talk about these prospects that the Raiders that fits the Raiders scheme that we can be looking out for at the scouting combine. First prospect is going to be edge David Bailey from Texas Tech. He's 6'3", 250. He possesses a freakish first step explosion that wins his rep before the offensive tackles can get their hands on him. He consistently beats the snap with timing that disrupts blocking schemes from the jump. He has rare athletic ability that shows up on tape. 405 bench, 550 squat, 22.16 miles per hour speed, and at 250 pounds that he creates is a physical specimen that translates directly to the NFL athleticism. So that's something, again, if you watch the offensive side prospect podcast. So when you're watching the scouting combine, you pretty much seen them on tape. When you watch the games, you can you see how they play. So what you want to do is you want to take what you've seen by watching the games, and then doing research, and then looking at the bios and everything, kind of seeing what they're saying about the player, and then you want to see if that translates when they go to the scouting combine and starts doing the drills. So does the height, weight, speed match up? Does the 40 match up? Does the 3-cone? Does the shuttle? Does the broad jump? Does the the high jump and stuff like that? Does it show that they have explosiveness? Because all of those numbers that you get gives you tells of if they're explosive, if they have hip fluidity, are they agile on their feet, are they stiff? So stuff like that. So when you see that, that's what you want. That's what you want to kind of look for when you're watching these prospects at the scouting combine. Does what you see them do in these drills translate to what you've seen on film. You don't want a guy that you really didn't see jump off the page as far as speed wise. Say like for instance a receiver or a running back or whatever, and then when they get to the combine, they run a 4.240, and then you're like, wow, okay, hold on, because that didn't show up on film when I watched it or whatever. You know, what happened? You know what I'm saying? So again, you don't want to go in blind. You have your measurables. You have your stuff that you want to look for, and that's what you look for. So, but that is the first prospect, which is a really good prospect. Um, and as far as pass rush wise, we really need some pass rush to help Max on the other side. We haven't had that in a while, so it'd be nice to have somebody, um, a bookend pass rusher that can help Max get to the quarterback. So the next prospect, we if you didn't watch any of the games, I know probably 95% of the audience probably watched the Miami and Indiana game just for the simple fact of Fernando Mendoza. We were all watching that game because, again, he could possibly be our franchise quarterback next year. So I know we had a lot of eyeballs on the national championship game, and if you watch this game and you watch a certain player, that is that player. What you've seen in that national championship game is from this player is what he does game in and game out. And that player is Miami's edge rusher, Ruben Bain. He's 6'3", 275 pounds. Bain's get off is special. You watch his first step against Florida State or the Ohio State playoff game, and you see a guy who's moving before tackles can get their hands up. His hands are violent and heavy. He does not just touch blockers. He shocks them. The initial punch knocks tackles off their spot and puts them on their heels immediately. His speed to power is legitimate. He can win outside and then walk the lineman back into the quarterback's chest. The bull rush against Clemson this past year is textbook. So again, that's another guy, like I said, with the size of 6'3", 275 coming off the edge, that has the speed, that has the bull rush ability to have the speed to power, is a nice combination. You have some edges that have just the speed but don't have the power game. Then you have edge rusher that has the power but don't have the speed game. So this prospect has both. He has the speed to power, so he has a lot of combination moves that he can use in his toolbox to get to the quarterback. So another great prospect. And like I said, again, if you watched the national championship game and you've seen the pressure that he was putting on Fernando Mendoza, go back and watch his whole career, and that's him every game, every snap, every play. So another great prospect. Keep an eye on at the scouting combine. Next prospect is going to be Keldrick Faulk from Auburn, 6'6", 285. Faulk's imposing physical profile is 6'6" and 285 pounds with verified elite strength, 700-pound squat, 415-pound bench. That translates directly to violent hand usage and anchor ability at the point of attack. His run defense is already NFL caliber, and as evidenced by his 62 run stops, leading all FBS edge defenders over 3 seasons, consistently dominating at the point of attack regardless of scheme or alignment. Sets a stout edge against power concepts and shows rare two-gap potential for edge player, holding his ground while possessing the strength to stack and shed and pursue laterally. So why is that important? Again, talking about Bain with the speed to power. So setting the edge is very important in the NFL. You want to be able to have, you know, defensive ends that can play the run, that can set the edge. If you have a defensive end that cannot set the edge, you're going to get ran on all day long. Go ask Jerry Jones and his comments about Michael Parsons, right? And we see it. We see it with our Raiders, right? We see it with Max. Max is great at setting the edge. He erects run games, even if he's not getting the sacks or getting to the quarterback or whatever. He's still dominant in the run game, making tackles for losses. So we've seen that. So envision having two bookend defensive ends that can play the run, but also can get to the quarterback. So teams run games would definitely be something that offensive coordinators are going to have to plan for, because they don't have a weak link on a defensive line as far as trying to get the run game, the outside run game, going. So that's a really, really good profile for a guy, again, that's 6'6", 285, that can get to the quarterback and is definitely stout against the run and tackles for loss. So I can definitely envision having Keldrick Faulk lining up opposite side of Max and letting him go wreck the game. So again, this is a prospect that you guys need to be looking out for at the scouting combine and seeing how he tests. So moving on to the next prospect. So the next prospect is going to be Cassius Howell, Texas A&M's edge rusher. He's 6'2", 248. Cassius fires off the ball with explosive first step quickness that consistently beats offensive tackles to the edge before they can establish their sets. His ankle flexibility allows him to bend and flatten around the corner like a sprinter hitting the curve, threatening the quarterback's blind side with regularity. He's has developed a nasty inside spin counter that catches tackles leaning outside, giving him multiple ways to win on any given snap. Creates intelligent rush distance on his approach, staying out of the tackle strike zone and forcing awkward punch attempts into empty spaces. So again, sounds like he's a speed rush, right? Speed rusher that has the flexibility to bend and get around the corners. We've seen the Von Millers, the Khalil Macks, you know what I'm saying? That can make their body small, bend, Michael Parsons, and get around the edge to the quarterback. But what was interesting is that they said that he has developed a nasty spin move, inside spin move to get, to the quarterback. So again, that's he has a counter. He has more tools in his toolbox that he can use other than just trying to be a speed rusher, getting to the outside, beating the tackle with speed. So it tells me that he has the intelligence or whatever and athletic ability to have counter moves. So that's nothing more frustrating for offensive tackles to have to deal with a speed guy that can get around the edge, and then when they try to cheat or commit with their kick step to try to prepare or try to get ready for the speed rush, and then he counters with a nasty spin move to get inside the tackle and go make a play on the quarterback. So again, the agility drills and the 3-cone drills and stuff like that at the combine, something that you need to look at to make sure that what they're saying, what you're seeing in games is true when he starts doing these drills. So, all right, moving on to the next prospect. Next prospect is edge rusher T.J. Parker from Clemson. He's 6'4", 263. Parker weaponizes his hands at the point of attack with violent striking and active counters that regularly leave offensive tackles grasping at air. His ball stripping ability is elite. Not coincidental that he has 6 forced fumbles in 2024 came from precise timing and calculated violence at the catch point. Long arm rush can absolutely devastate tackles when he times it correctly, rolling them backward into the quarterback's lap and collapsing the pocket. He sets firm edges and movable edges against the run by utilizing his strength and upper body strength to anchor, control, and discard blockers. He reads the backfield while rushing, adjusting his path to stay connected with the quarterback movement rather than just chasing empty glass. So, looking at this prospect, showed up on tape. He definitely has the ability to force turnovers. He's not just looking for the sack; he's looking to strip the ball as well. So he definitely has that see ball, get ball, type mentality. You know what I'm saying? He has long arms, so he can not only rush the quarterback, but he can also play the long game to where he can stem the tackle, with his long arms, so that way the tackle can get into his chest plate and control his movement or whatever, so he can use that. And go back to when we used to have Khalil Mack. Remember, Khalil Mack used to have that arm and that and the power to have the tackles on their back pedal, and then he's just basically just using that one arm to control the tackle to get to the quarterback. So that's something that we need to look at, whenever you're watching the combine, and also too, being able to have someone that is not only rushing the quarterback, but he's making sure that he's seeing what he's rushing and not just chasing empty glass. You know what I'm saying? Just we seen rushers that just nothing but they do is just go at the quarterback and the quarterback. And like he thinks the quarterback's going to be in a spot, and then he looks up, the quarterback's not there. You know what I'm saying? He's basically just rushing with like a chicken with his head cut off, and not understanding, and paying attention to where he's rushing. So he basically, has the awareness of his rush ability to get to his spot, or locate the quarterback and get the quarterback on the ground. So again, that's another solid prospect that we need to be taking a look at the combine. The next prospect that I'm going to talk about is OU's R. Mason Thomas. He's 6'2", 249. Thomas's explosive first step off the snap creates instant stress for tackles before their hands are even set. He converts speed to power with violent technique, catching blockers off guard when they sit back for his speed rush. He has remarkable bend and ankle flexion that allows him to flatten around the arc while staying balanced through contact. He has natural pad level that keeps him low without thinking about it, winning the leverage war against taller, longer opponents consistently. And here's the greatest point to his bio is, and we watched this with Max, fourth quarter animal. 6 of his 9 sacks this year came protecting leads, which tells you that tells you something about his competitive wiring and his unrelentless motor. So again, having someone on the other side that mirrors Max Crosby with basically just relentless motor, never getting tired, and 6 of his 9 sacks came in the fourth quarter. So to close out games. So that tells you again his competitive nature, that he wants to win, we've heard it from Max. Legendary. He wants to be legendary. The 1% of the 1%ers. You know what I'm saying? Like, so again, getting somebody on the other side of Max is going to be paramount. We got to have somebody that can match Max's intensity, his will, and to disrupt defenses. So another prospect that you guys definitely should be taking an eye out, keeping an eye on at the scouting combine. So let's move on to the next prospect. Next prospect is going to be Missouri's edge, Zion Young. He's 6'5", 262. Young's built like a prototypical modern edge rusher with rare length at 6'5", and arms that create problems for blockers that try to get their hands on him on the inside. His run defense is his calling card. He stacks blockers, sheds with violence, and holds his ground against double teams with the anchor that bellies his 6'2" or his 262-pound frame. Plays with a nasty streak that offensive linemen absolutely hate. He finishes through contact and brings a physical temperament that infects the rest of the defensive front. He's active, technically sound in his pass rushing situations. His swim move is polished. His rip is effective, and he has started to add a spin move that flashes real potential when he sells his speed first. So again, looks like another prospect that has a lot of tools in his tool belt, and is working on adding to those tools with the spin move that plays off of the speed of rush that he possesses. So again, looking at all these prospects, again, like I said, I picked these prospects because one, what I've seen on tape that flashed. Two, these players is going to fit Robbie Leonard's scheme that he's going to be implementing this next year. So getting players that definitely that they can coach and they can develop and to be solid in their scheme. These are the players that we need to be looking out for. So Zion Young from Missouri is another prospect that we need to keep an eye on at the scouting combine. The next prospect is going to be Rueben Bain's running mate from Miami, and that's Akeem Mesidor. He's 6'3", 280. Again, like I said, if you watched the national championship game against Indiana, you've seen those dudes coming off the edge on both sides. And Mendoza took a punishment in that national championship game, and it was because of those two guys, Rueben Bain and Akeem Mesidor. So they're two highly rated prospects. Mesidor's explosive first step allows him to consistently penetrate the backfield. He's versatile. He's a versatile defender capable of lining in multiple positions. I mean, he can line up inside as a D lineman. So he has the flexibility to line up in all defensive fronts, increasing his value, which NFL teams love. Demonstrates excellent hand uses and leverage, allowing him to shed blocks effectively and maintain gap integrity. He is a high motor player who pursues plays relentlessly, often making tackles downfield or on the opposite side of the ball for creating tackles for losses. Showcases good bend and flexibility for his size, enabling him to turn the corner as an edge rusher. And his strong football IQ is seen in his ability to diagnose plays quickly and react accordingly. So, nice, solid, again, high motor player that can bend, that can get around the edges, but has flexibility to play multiple positions, which, like I said, again, NFL teams love. If you can line up and they can use you um, up and down the line. Um, that's definitely some value, some great value. So another player, like I said again, um, high level player that we need to keep our eye on at the scouting combine. Akeem Mesidor. I got one more player that is left that I'm gonna talk about that fits the Raider scheme off the edge list. This next player is one of my favorites. He watching his film was fun. I mean, he was someone, man, um, that jumped off the page immediately whenever I started scouting him or whatever. So he definitely is a fun player. And when he went to the Senior Bowl, he definitely didn't disappoint there either. So, and plus he's from my home state. You know, I'm a Chicago, Illinois kid that grew up being a Raider fan in Bear Country. So, and so he goes to school I'm definitely familiar with, Illinois. So, and the guy that I'm talking about is Gabe Yakas. He's 6'3", 260. Yakas, man, has he's super athletic. He made Bruce Philman's freak list. He wrote, Yakas has ridiculous strength and power, especially for a guy so young. The 6'3", 267-pound bench presses 285 at 22 or for 22 reps. He looks like he's been lifting since middle school, says Illinois defensive tackle Johnny Newton. He can do it all. Gabe is a dog at wrestling. I tried to wrestle him. I wouldn't advise it. He just wore me out. He is not to be messed with. So, Wrestling Foundation creates a devastating hand placement and leverage advantage that consistently frustrates opposing offensive linemen at the point of attack. He has natural power generator who can stack and shed blockers with authority, showcasing knockback ability that opens rushing lanes for his teammates. Relentless motor drives him through contact, and which is his greatest skill. Making hustle plays downfield that lesser athletes simply cannot reach. So again, like I said, just a freakish athlete. Has the prototypical size, speed, which is something again that I'm gonna be watching out for at the combine. But what I've seen on tape, man, he like I said, he's one of my favorite players on definitely in that defensive or the edge rushing class. So keep an eye on Gabe Yakas, man. Fun player to watch, and definitely would be someone I would be excited if the Raiders turned in a card and it had Gabe Yakas' name on it come draft week. So, all right. So I'm gonna get that concludes the edge rushing class. So now we're going to focus on the defensive tackle class. So to kick off the defensive tackle prospects is going to be Clemson's Peter Woods. He's 6'3", 315. Woods' first step explosion is absolutely devastating for a man his size. He gets off the ball with such violence, and that guards are routinely playing catch up from the snap. He has hip flexibility and body control that defies the laws of physics at 315. Bends and contorts through gaps that should be physically impossible for an interior lineman. His hand strikes are legitimate. When he forces lineman back with his punch is devastating. Watch the Georgia tape, and you will see the lineman visibly jolted backwards on contact. He's a sideline to sideline range tackle or defensive tackle for a guy his size. He chases down ball carriers 80 to 90 pounds lighter uh, with alarming ease on the backside. Swipe move is legitimate nasty and has become his bread and butter pass rushing weapon. Times is beautifully and leaves guards grasping at air on the interior. So watching him, I don't know how far you guys go back. I'm 51, so I've been a Raider fan since '82. Like I said, a snot-nosed kid growing up in Chicago, Illinois, around nothing but Bear fans on my pops' side of the family or whatever. Man, all my uncles and cousins or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're all Bear fans, and I ended up being a Raider fan because of Marcus Allen. But so again, I don't know how far you guys go back, but he reminded me when watching him on tape of a young Darrell Russell. Remember back in the day, Darrell Russell was a beast, and just for his size and being so quick, being so nimble, being able to get in and out of his stance and just be and have that wiggle, to get to the quarterback. Man, it was something nice to see, and that's what Peter Woods reminded me of when I was watching him. It was I just envisioned Darrell Russell. So, and we really haven't had a true dominant defensive tackle if you really think about it since Darrell Russell. So Darrell Russell was all pro, multiple seasons all pro. So anyway, nice way to start off the defensive tackle segment with the guy that's definitely someone to keep an eye on at the scouting combine. I mean, he's a dominant player. So moving on to the next prospect that we should be looking out for. The next prospect that I want to talk about is going to be Ohio State's defensive tackle, Caden McDonald. He's 6'3", 325. If you're looking for a true nose tackle, someone that can anchor the middle of the line, this prospect is definitely going to be the best in this class. He has human sized. He's a human sized roadblock. Centers try to move him and end up going backwards instead. This kind of play strength you just cannot teach. Watch the Texas game and count how many times their guards get thrown around like a tackling dummy. He ragdolls people at the point of attack. His anchor is ridiculous. Once he's set, you cannot move him. Power runs die at the line because he plants those tree trunks in the ground and refuses to budge no matter what they throw at him. Gets tremendous pop in his hands on contact and knows how to knock out blockers. Then times he sheds perfectly when the ball carrier gets close. Way more athletic than Stopwatch says. He can slant, stunt, and even block hit blockers with little shimmy to keep them honest through their game. So, again, if you're looking for a true nose tackle like a Halati Noah back in the day, a Vita Vea that's playing for Tampa right now. Those true anchors in the middle to where they won't move. Like I said again, having those guys really helps out the defensive line because now there's no budge in his game, so that allows the linebackers to get to the next level. Excuse me. To make a play in the backfield. That also allows where now he's being double teamed, and then that's going to leave one-on-one matchups with the other lineman on the line. So he is the truest nose tackle in his class. So if you're looking for a nose tackle, which we are, we have a need for a player like that. Someone to definitely keep an eye on in this upcoming scouting combine. Moving on to the next prospect. Next up is another true nose tackle. To me, is the second best nose tackle in this class. He's second behind Cade McDonald that I just talked about. This player is Texas Tech's Lee Hunter. He's 6'3", 320. Hunter wins at the point of attack against the run, and with his ferocious hand violence and a natural anchor that lets him absorb combo blocks and holds his ground when centers and guards try to move him off his spot. He is built like a fire hydrant with a 6'9" wingspan and a thick, powerful base that NFL defensive line coaches will fall in love with when projecting his ability to clog interior gaps at the next level. He gets off the ball with surprising burst for a man his size, consistently firing low out of his stance and gaining ground into the backfield before blockers can get their hands on him. His run defense tape is elite level stuff. And 58 run defensive stops over 2 seasons backs it up. He reads blocking schemes quickly, recognizes down blocks, and shifts his hands to avoid getting washed inside. Creates real problems for offensive coordinators who need to account for his gap integrity, which opens up one-on-one looks for linebackers and edge rushers when opponents devote extra resources to handle him. So if you go back to what I said about Cade McDonald, having that true anchor in the middle, that nose tackle that won't be budged, that definitely causes problems for, like I said, offensive coordinators, right? Because now he's going to have to move him off a spot. Now he's going to be absorbing double teams, which leaves the linebackers room to get inside to make the play in the backfield, right? Or one-on-one matchups for the rest of the linemen on the field to get to the quarterback. You can definitely increase your chances on winning one-on-one matchups, whereas, having to deal with 2 or more linemen at a time. So, again, Caden McDonald and Lee Hunter, you cannot go wrong with either one of those guys if you're trying to build your defense, which we are. If we're trying to run the type of scheme that we're going to run, these players will definitely fit in very nicely. So Lee Hunter, check him out. Keep an eye on him at when the combine begins. Moving on to the next prospect. Next prospect is going to be DeMonte Capehart from Clemson. He's 6'5", 315. He has overwhelming power at the point of attack, consistently displacing blockers with explosive initial punch. Exceptional two-gapping ability, stonewalling double teams and anchoring against the run. Impressive athleticism for his size, showcasing good pad level and vertical burst as a pass rusher. Heavy-handed striker who consistently knocks offensive linemen off balance. Alignment versatility capable of playing all along the defensive line. Consistently plays with good leverage, good hands under blockers, pads to uproot them. So again, another versatile lineman that can play multiple positions on the line, which brings value to a team. He has violent hands. He is also has a speed rush to his game as an interior lineman. That is definitely a plus. So again, some of the things that to look out for when he's running these drills to see if he is really agile, as you see on tape and as the bio explains. So really good, solid prospect. Again, someone that I would definitely not be mad at if the Raiders draft this player in the draft. So moving on to the next prospect on the list. All right, so last person I want to talk about. I usually save the last person on the list of one of my favorites, or at the position. So this player is one of the guys again that I love in this class. Um, the guy that I'm talking about is Deontay Corleone. Um, from Cincinnati. He's 6'1", 335. Again, just another freakish, super athletic guy. Bruce Feldman's. He made the Bruce Feldman's freak list. He wrote, his power is something special. He benches 485, squats 605, and deadlifts 700 pounds. He also can really move for a guy his size. Clocking 18 miles an hour on a GPS and running a 4.68 Pro shuttle. The only defensive tackle over 300 pounds at the combine with the faster shuttle was Wisconsin's 309 pound Keanu Benton, who ran a 4.65. So that's something that, again, that we need to be looking out for based off of his bio. Bruce Feldman's on his freak list wrote that that he was clocked at a 4.68 shuttle. So, and that was that is probably going to be second to a guy named Keanu Benton for a person his size that ran a 4.65. So that's something that we definitely need to be looking out for when he does that drill. He has natural leverage. His natural leverage is his best friend at 6'1". He fires out of his low stance and stays beneath blockers' pads, turning his compact frame into a advantage rather than a limitation in the trenches. He refuses to get moved off his spot against double teams. He bends his knees, widens his base, and anchors down like his cleats are cemented into the turf. Quicker than his 335-pound frame suggests, his 1.71 second 10-yard split and 7.44 second three-cone time translate to surprising short area bursts when shooting gaps and sliding laterally against zone runs. So again, we have numbers to kind of compare now that what he's been clocked in the past. So that's something again to take a look at. I know that showed up on film for me. The reason why I had him on the list, and the reason why he's one of my favorites, because again, I like that freakish athletic talent. Like I said, that's hard to teach. You can teach other things, but being athletic and being freakishly athletic, you can't teach that. So again, the reason why he made my list, and definitely one of the funnest players that I evaluated or whatever. So again, write those numbers down, take a look at it whenever he does his drills, and let's see that if he hits those numbers or whatever. So, all right, that concludes the defensive tackle position. Next up is going to be the linebackers, which I'm pretty excited about that, because we definitely need to do an overhaul in the linebacker room. So we have 3 of our starters that is free agents. I'm not sure if we're going to bring any of those guys back. 1 or 2 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So linebackers is definitely a need for our Raiders. So all right, getting prepared for the linebacker class. And let's get ready to talk about some of those prospects. So kicking off the linebacker portion of this pod is one of my absolute favorites in this class, in the linebackers class as well. Is Sonny Styles, Ohio State's linebacker. He's 6'4", 243, super athletic. This player also made the Bruce Feldman's freak list at 6'4", 243 pounds. He broad jumped 11 inches. His vertical jumped 40 inches and squatted 675 pounds. His body fat is 10%, and if not for his teammate, wide receiver Jeremiah Smith, Styles would have been the Buckeyes' biggest freak. His coverage ability is rare for an off-the-ball linebacker. He carries tight ends vertically, matches running backs on option routes, and reads quarterback's eyes like a safety. Violent hands at the point of attack. He pops climbing linemen with his crisp punch and creates separation before they can lock their hands onto his frame. He has a sideline-to-sideline range that allows coordinators to trust him in single high shells. His pursuit speed erases mistakes made by the front four that are in front of him. Clean open field tackler who breaks down before contact. Takes proper angles and uses long arms to expand his tackle radius against elusive runners. So again, another clean prospect, another athletic prospect, and we definitely need that at the linebacker position. It's been a very, very, very long time since we had a linebacker, solid linebacker that was athletic, that can get sideline to sideline, make plays, definitely make plays in the passing game. I don't know how many times that throughout the years, going back to the Tony Gonzalez's and the Travis Kelce's and tight ends and stuff like that, Antonio Gates, that absolutely killed us in that area. So tight ends just crush us. So to have someone that can take away tight ends, that can play the pass coverage, but also play the run game, and the sideline, and it's a freakish athlete like that, yeah, definitely sign me up for that. So that is the first player to jump off the linebacker class of prospects to keep an eye on at the scouting combine. Moving on to the next prospect. All right. So due to the time, I did want to do a long, pod to where it was over an hour long or whatever. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to cut it a little short. Just kind of cut a little bit of the bio. Just give you guys some some players to kind of chew on, to keep an eye on, so that way I don't go too long on the pod. So I talked about Sonny Styles. The next guy that I was going to talk about is Georgia's CJ Allen. He's 6'1", 235. The next person on the list was Texas Anthony Hill from Texas. He's 6'3", 238. And Josiah Trotter from Missouri. He's 6'2", 237. So what I want to do is I do want to kind of give a little bit of a bio on a couple of linebackers. These are going to be some mid to late round linebackers, some sleeper linebackers. So definitely some linebackers that caught my eye. So that way you do get some kind of intel on the player. So that way when you are looking at them, you do have some kind of a idea of what kind of talent you're looking at. So with that being said, let me jump into one of the guys that I wanted to talk about. So one of the guys that jumped off the tape for me was Jack Golday from Cincinnati. Again, when I was watching Dante Corleone's tape or whatever, the defensive tackle, I kept seeing this guy, jumping off the page, which is good, which it allows me to to look at other prospects or whatever. So I started diving into Jake's film and stuff like that. So he definitely was intriguing, definitely popped for me. So I had to put him on a list. Again, he fits the scheme that Robbie Leonard is wanting to run. Goday is built like a small forward playing football with legitimate 6'4" length and long limbs that give him a catch radius most linebackers simply cannot replicate when disrupting throwing lanes or reaching ball carriers at angles. Covers ground sideline to sideline with smooth, rangy strides and a top gear that shows up in the backside pursuit, routinely chasing down plays that most linebackers at his size would concede. Gets his hands on blockers early and keeps his chest clean with active punchy technique. And this is where his tape really sings against the run. He attacks climbing linemen with heavy hands, compresses gaps, and finishes with authority that you rarely see from a converted defensive end. He's a wrap-up tackler who finishes with fundamentals and physicality, maintaining that low 10.5% missed tackle rate across 5 college seasons, which speaks to his consistency and his discipline more than any single highlight. So, again, being versatile, being a converted defensive end to a linebacker position, being 6'4" and 240 means he's tall. Has the wingspan. He's stout in his size, 240. So he's built so he can withstand a lot of the punishment or whatever. And he's a sideline to sideline guy because the speed that he possesses, and also his coverage ability, so he can get out and cover. Again, one of the things that we absolutely need at our linebacking position, whatever. So again, I wanted to highlight that player. So let's move on to the next prospect. So the next guy that I want to talk about is a nasty player, man. He's one of those nasty lunch pail guys that brings it on every play. The player that I'm talking about is going to be Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech. He's 6'1", 233. He shows legitimate sideline to sideline pursuit with the range that to track down outside runs and cover backs in the flat effectively. Diagnoses runs concepts quickly and shoots gaps with conviction. He rarely getting caught flat-footed when the ball gets handed off. Violent in his hands at the point of attack allows him to stack and shed blocks, keeping his shoulder square to make tackles. Quarterback background gives him exceptional pre-snap recognition, often calling out formations and putting teammates in proper positions before plays. Creates havoc as a blitzer with natural timing and bend to slip through gaps, generating 22 total pressures this past season. Ball production jumps off the tape with 6 forced fumbles over 2 healthy seasons, always punching at the football. So, lastly but not least, leadership qualities shine through as a 2-year captain who set the tone for Texas Tech defense with his energy and passion. So again, someone that has the versatility. He was a quarterback converted to linebacker, so he has a knowledge and awareness of what quarterbacks are thinking. So that is a plus. Definitely playing, the Mike position, calling out the plays, wearing the green dot, getting his teammates in the right spot is very, very critical for defenses. So to have someone that, has the mindset of a quarterback because he was a quarterback, knowing what the quarterback's thinking, knowing formations and able to get his teammates into the proper sets. So again, he's sideline to sideline, very heavy with his hands, and it is a great tackler. So another mid to late prospect that we need to be looking at and keeping an eye on. So moving to the last linebacker prospect that I want to give you his bio. So the next prospect that I want to talk about is a prospect that I did not um, initially scout. I didn't watch a lot of Pitt games that much this year. So when I saw this prospect at the Senior Bowl, and just flash. I mean, he was dominant every day in the drills and the practices in the game. Um, he showed up. I mean, like he was always constantly making a play, being around the ball. So I was like, okay, who is this guy? So I went back and I watched a lot uh, of this guy's games and stuff like that, his film, and I was impressed. So, kind of what I seen at the Senior Bowl translated on what I seen in the games. So, I definitely put him on the list because it's somebody that is definitely intriguing prospect. The person I'm talking about is Cal Lewis from Pitt. He's 6 foot, 224. Um, he is definitely a film junkie who shows up at 5:50 a.m. to study install footage, translating preparation into his game, breaking plays consistently. Cover skills belong in a different tax bracket. Smooth hips, rangy zone drops, and can mirror tight ends vertically. Ball production jumps off the stat sheet with 4 interceptions and 7 pass defense, showing natural hands and instincts. Sideline to sideline pursuit speed allows him to erase cutback lanes and chase down plays from the backside. Blitzing savvy shows up repeatedly using vision burst to knock through protection schemes for 7 sacks. Open field tackling technique stays disciplined when defenders get sloppy, breaking down properly and wrapping up in space. So what I saw at the Senior Bowl, him basically mirroring the top wide receivers in his class, and making plays, shutting them down, making interceptions, making pass defense, basically running stride for stride. Again, with the top prospects coming out in this draft, definitely was eye opening. And then, like I said, going back and looking at the film and stuff, it definitely translated. So another prospect, another solid prospect that we need to be taking a look at the combine. Hopefully, with those 3 categories, the edge, defensive tackles, and linebackers, and the prospects that I highlighted, gives you guys some real intel on what to look for and who to be watching when you're watching the scouting combine. All right. Moving on to the next categories. Again, it's going to be kind of short and brief because I want to keep the podcast at a minimum time frame. So I'm just going to kind of run down a little bit of the names, and then I'll probably highlight a couple of cornerbacks for you guys. All right. So let's get started with that. All right. So the next group is cornerbacks. I'm going to kind of run through them pretty quick. Give you some names to take a look at. First is going to be Mansour Delaney from LSU. He's 6 foot 190. Jermod McCoy from Tennessee. He's 6 foot 193. And Avion Terrell from Clemson. He's 5'11", 180. But who I want to kind of go in in depth on is going to be Colton Hood, Tennessee's cornerback. He's 6 foot 188. Hood has fluid hips and quick feet, and his back pedal allows him to mirror receivers through their breaks without losing a step, especially effective on cornerbacks, comebacks and curls, where his deceleration is seamless. Press man technique is at the line, is where he lives. Gets his hands on you early with a forcible 2-hand jam that disrupts timing and keeps wideouts from running clean stems off the line. ball production speaks for itself. 3 career interceptions, 14 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles across 29 games with a knack for showing up at the catch point when it matters most. His 4.4 speed gives him a legitimate recovery gear that allows him to close windows even when he's initially beat off the snap. And cornerbacks have cornerbacks who test him pays for it at the end. So that's one cornerback in detail. And the next cornerback that I will want to talk is Brandon Seiss from South Carolina. He's 6 foot, 190. He has elite lateral explosion and downhill burst allow him to trigger instantly on perimeter runs and screens while maintaining sticky positioning and man coverage against shiftier route runners. Arm length far exceeds typical thresholds for outside corners, giving him an expanded radius that disrupts throws at the catch point and makes life miserable for quarterbacks. Loose hips and smooth footwork enables effortless transitions out of his pedal, letting him flip and run with receivers vertically without losing ground or giving up separation. Natural athleticism shows up consistently in man coverage where he mirrors releases with patience, smothers and breaking routes, and with his agility and closes gaps with his impressive recovery speed. So again, another solid cornerback. Again, I'm touching on cornerbacks that will fit Robbie Leonard's scheme, and definitely some talent there, especially and both the guys that I touched on are man-to-man covers, which we like to have on the outside for our Raiders. So again, the height, weight, speed, and fluidity is what these guys bring to the table. And then, like I said, check him out at the scouting combine and see if that matches up with what you see this coming up week. One more prospect that I want to talk about and give the bio on. That way you can have some kind of insight of what these prospects have going into the scouting combine. So the prospect is going to be Chris Johnson from San Diego State. He's 6 foot 190. Reads the game fast and trusts what he sees breaking on throws with conviction instead of waiting around to confirm routes have developed fully. Smooth mover with loose hips who flips and runs without wasted motion. Stays in phase when receivers break and doesn't get caught flat-footed in his pedal. Best work comes in zone where he allows to read and react. All 4 picks this year came playing zone and held quarterbacks to just a 20.6 rating in those spots. Comfortable anywhere you put him, played boundary corner, slot snaps, even some box work. Doesn't need to be hidden or schemed around to be effective on Sundays. Goes after the ball instead of just trying to break up the pass. Times his hands well and converts opportunities into takeaways when most corners settle for knockdowns. So again, wanted to highlight bring someone to the table. I had a couple of man corners that I highlighted, and this prospect does a lot of work in the zone. He's more, like I said, effective in the zone, but he can play all 3 spots. He can play on the outside. He can play in the spot. He can also play in the box. So a very versatile cornerback. Again, teams love versatility and brings value to an NFL team. Now, I did say that this was the last one, but I do have one more that I want to highlight for you guys. Like I said, I always save the last prospect for like the guy that I really like, or he's one of my favorites. And that guy is D'Angelo Pons from Indiana. He's 5'9", 170. He is on a slighter side of things. But again, when I watch him on film, he jumps off the page. Like I said, again, if you watch any Indiana games, because you were watching Fernando Mendoza, you saw him show up on a week-to-week basis. So Pond's physical brand of football jumps off the tape immediately as Scott embraces contact and isn't afraid to get his hands dirty against bigger bodies in the slot. Outstanding run defender who triggers downhill with bad intentions and blows up, pulling guards and lead blockers trying to create lanes in a run game. Natural blitzer with excellent timing and burst through gaps, racking up 5 sacks in 2025 by knifing through protection and finishing at the quarterback. Compact frame, plays bigger than listed size at 170 due to aggressive hand usage and willingness to mix it up at the line of scrimmage against tight ends. Quick feet, loose hips allows him to flip his hips smoothly in man coverage and mirror routes without getting grabby or losing position through breaks. So again, another prospect that I wanted to highlight. Again, he is 5'9", 170, but he plays bigger than his frame. And if you've seen it in his games, that showed. So again, that concludes our cornerback portion of this podcast. So what I want to do now is I'm not going to go in depth with the safety class because, again, I am over an hour on this pod. And I do apologize. Didn't mean for it to go so long. But when you're talking about prospects and you want to kind of break them down, you can never tell on how long that takes. But for the safety class, the names that you need to be looking out for is Caleb Downs from Ohio State. He's 6 foot 205. Dylan Thienerman from Oregon. He's 6 foot 205. Emmanuel McNeil Warren from Toledo is 6'2", 202. Michael Taft from Texas. He's 6 foot 193. Kamari Ramsey from USC. He's 6 foot 199. Genesis Smith from Arizona. He's 6'2", 202. And another guy that I scouted late. He was at the Senior Bowl, and he just showed up. Again, he was kind of like Kyle Lewis, the linebacker from Pitt, that just showed up, and every day that I watched, he was making plays. So I went back and scouted a lot of his film or whatever, and dude is legit. So it's Bud Clark from TCU. He's 6'1", 185. So take a look at those guys. Tell me what you think. I'm gonna try to do a post Senior Bowl podcast, basically highlighting the players that we talked about in this podcast, and see if it matches up on what they did at the Senior Bowl compared to what we talked about. So, all right, Raider Nation, thanks for tuning in. I am very blessed and humbled to have you guys, watch my videos. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys that subscribed, to my page and like my pages. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please, help the boy out. Help me get my subscribers up or whatever, so that way I can keep putting out content for you guys. I know there's a lot of content creators out there, but what I like to try to do is I try to go in depth. I know that's why a lot of my videos goes long, but I talk about things that no other people talk about. I go in depth more than what other people goes in depth in. So I enjoy doing this, because I'm a rabid fan. I mean, like I said, I've been a fan since '82. All I do is 24/7 talk Raiders football with anybody that wants to listen to. So again, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate Raider Nation. Help your boy out. Like I said, hitting that like and subscribe, and be looking out for the next pod that comes out. All right. Appreciate it, man. You guys stay up out there, Raider Nation.